Hi everybody, this is David Snyder, and I'm welcoming you to the Prescott Sunrise Lions Show. I'm Dave Snyder, CPA, MBA, EA with David A. Snyder, CPA, and I do taxes, business valuations. I'm a professional controller and all kinds of other accounting functions that you may need in the Prescott Valley, the Quad City area. I'm a member of the Prescott Sunrise Lions Club, have been for about 6 years now. And please go to PrescottSunriseLionsClub.org to see the projects that we are involved in, and come to our meeting every Thursday at 7 a.m. at Waffles and More, where we meet for breakfast every Wednesday, again at every Thursday, 7 a.m. at Waffles and More. And we have breakfast. We do a lot of different projects that I'll talk about later in the show. Our guest today is Crystal Ogden. She is the development coordinator and outreach coordinator for Yavapai CASA for Kids Foundation, and she will be in the next segment. We have talked on our show, all our shows. We've had about 15 or 16 of them now. So for the last year and a half, we've been doing this Prescott Sunrise Lions show. And we talked on our show about the calendar project, about tax credits. We'll do a little bit more of that today. The school nurses that go around Yavapai County screening kids' eyes so that tell them to go to a doctor. We talk about that all the time. The eye care RV, canine companions that goes to, and the eye care van that I've talked about before that goes to underserved areas of Yavapai County. And our recycling project in Prescott Valley, Camp Tatia, the Leo Club that we started at PHS, and many other Lions projects. We're going to emphasize tax credits a little bit today because we recently finished tax season and tax credit season also. And since many of the Arizona tax credits have been extended to April 18, 2017, I want to tell you kind of what the results were for our club this year. Our club has seen the benefit of this extension to April 18th of the next year, and went from accepting approximately $65,000 last year to about $110,000 this year. That money goes directly into our community to help with some of the following activities. Man, that's a big jump in 1 year, but that extension really helped us. And when I'm doing tax preparation, if somebody owes some money for Arizona, I say, why don't you just give it to these tax credits? If they owe $3,000, then I give them to a variety of tax credits, because our tax credit is the working poor tax credit, which allows you to go $800 married filing jointly and $400 all other statuses. Well, if they owe $3,000 and the $800 doesn't clear that up, there's all kinds of other tax credits, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that will help you avoid paying all that money to Arizona when it can go to these tax credits and goes to these charitable organizations. So some of the projects that the following activities those tax credits go to are sight and hearing for kids, which is one of our main functions. In the 1920s, well, we originally started in 1917 in Chicago, the Prescott, the Lions clubs, and we were charged with helping kids with eye problems and hearing problems. By who was that? Helen Keller. I couldn't remember. I didn't write it down here. So by Helen Keller in the 1920s, she charged us with doing that. She became the Knights of the Blind. So another thing that we do for the blind is leader dogs for the blind. Those dogs that go around and help blind people walk around cities that you see, and you see them. They're their guide dogs. School nurse needs is another thing. Several years ago, we got scanners for the school nurses to go around Yavapai County to scan the eyes of the kids so they can tell them whether they need to go to doctors or not. Yavapai Exceptional Industries for disadvantaged adults. That gives them jobs for disadvantaged adults that have, certain disabilities. Vocational scholarships. There's vocational scholarships that allow you to go to C-Tech at Yavapai College and do welding or other nursing. There's the nursing program at Yavapai College. There's a bunch of other vocational scholarships that we support. Camp Toddy for special needs kids. That's a camp in the White Mountains for special needs kids and I've read stories about those kids that go there, and it's just wonderful that they remember. I mean, from 40 years later or 50 years later, that they remember their experience there. People Who Care. That's a program that we support much among the other needs of the community. I've been honored to be able to give out checks to some of these organizations, and it's really helpful. It's really helpful to the community and to these organizations. Recently, we had something called Teen Maze that the Lions supported. The project is a community project supported by many of the Lions clubs in the area, as well as a lot of other service organizations. It was in this very armory that we had the Teen Maze. And the project, the Teen Maze, they run the projects. They run middle school and high school kids through an actual maze, explaining certain consequences of bad behaviors like drinking and driving, teenage sex, use of drugs, and bullying. Teen Maze is held for 3 days in every April and is a great service to the growing kids in the area. The Prescott Sunrise Lions just had their annual 4.0 dinner, which honors high school kids who had a grade point average of 4.0 or greater through high school. There were over 200 people who enjoyed the dinner, including approximately 70 students between Prescott High and Bradshaw High School. It was an excellent night, and we were able to honor the founding president of the Leo Club, the Sunrise Lion, that the Prescott Sunrise Lions sponsored at Prescott High, my daughter, Ann Snyder, who is going to the Baird Honors College at ASU. I'm a proud dad. I'm allowed to do this. I'm the host. Okay, so I don't want to hear it. All right, so those are some of the things that the Lions clubs in the area, as well as the Prescott Sunrise Lions, do to help the community. I really enjoy being with the Prescott Sunrise Lions. I like doing the show. I like doing the projects that we do, the tax credit project, the calendar project. I'm involved in all that, as well as a recycling project. And it really helps the community. It's sort of outreach to the community, and it's really honorable to be with the Sunrise Lions. So come become a Sunrise Lion. We meet again at 7 a.m. every Thursday at Waffles and More. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Prescott Sunrise Lions Show. I'm here today with our guest, Crystal Ogden, the Development Outreach Coordinator at Yavapai CASA for Kids Foundation. And you can reach her at 445-0800, or the email is yc4kfoundation@gmail.com, and the website is www.yavapaicasaforkids.org. Thank you for being with us today, Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so where are you from?
I am a native Arizona. I was born in Glendale, and I was raised, though, here in Prescott. My family has been here 50 years.
50 years?
50 years.
And you've been here that whole time?
No, I left.
You left?
Sad to say. Yes, I left for 25 years. But I've been back for the past 10 years.
All right, all right. And tell us a little bit more about yourself. What do you...
Sure. So I came back basically to help my dad. We'd lost my mom from cancer, my stepmom from cancer, and so when I came back, I was helping him, and I ended up staying. And when the fire happened, when the 19 died, I then ran the warehouse for United Way for the people of Yarnell. And then when that wrapped up after a year, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And then this job opened up at CASA for the foundation side, and went in there and been there 3 years now.
Were you ever involved with the Yavapai Recovery Group?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Yarnell.
The
Recovery
Yarnell
Group?
Recovery Group, yes.
Okay.
I do know all of them on that board as well.
All right. So I think I just did their tax return 6 months ago. So what inspired you to join Yavapai CASA for Kids Foundation?
I have a passion for children, number one.
Okay.
Our children need a voice. And then the other thing is I have been in fundraising in California for quite some time. So I kind of knew a little bit about fundraising on the volunteer side, never been
Okay.
paid for it, but then came in and have been learning a lot more about how to fundraise, what is fundraising, what do we do, how do we do it, and then how do we help these children? How do we help them? How do we help the foster parents or the kinship placements who don't have beds, who don't have bedding, who a child comes in with the clothes on their backs? What do we do for them, and how can we help them? So that's what we're doing now.
So is it mostly children without parents, or with parents that are I don't have a great word for that, but
You know, it depends on how they've been removed.
Yeah.
Obviously, something has happened, drugs, alcohol, whatever that situation is. I never know what the situation is. I think that's the other thing that I really like about what I do is the fact that I don't know these children. I'll never meet these children, but I know that I'm making a difference in these children's lives.
because it would tear you apart to know the children.
I
is
think
what
so.
You're saying.
I think so. So DCS removes the child, and then the child becomes a care of the courts. And then that is when they are placed with either a kinship placement or a foster care placement. Foster care placement means it's a licensing agent.
Okay.
They've gone through whatever needs to be done to prove that their house is in order, that they've got smoke alarms, that they've got everything that might happen in that house, beds, bedding, so that child can come in and start over again.
So the foster parents are vetted
Yes, they are.
extensively.
Extensively.
Okay.
And so right now I think there's 12 licensing agents in Yavapai County, and I work with all of them on a different level, which is where if a child has been displaced and is in foster care, but the courts have come and said we would like to see reunification happen. Yavapai CASA for Kids Foundation has a visiting center up at the Methodist Church. We've got 2 rooms up there. They look like studios. You come in, there's a couch, there's a TV, there's toys for the kids to play with, there's a crib for a child to take a nap, games to play with. A microwave is set up so that if it's an extended time, 2 to 4 hours, somebody needs to eat, they can warm something up in the microwave. So the licensing agents will contact me and say we need a visitation, and I'll schedule that room for those parents so that we can try reunification. Because the bottom line, every child wants to be reunified with their parent.
Absolutely. Yeah. So so does that seem to work well, or does it?
We've been booking the room every single day, which really makes me feel good knowing that these kids are getting that one shot with their parents, and that the parent has stepped up and said, I want my child back, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my child back. So they do the visitations, which
Okay.
is great. And I love seeing our numbers go up for the number of hours that the visitation is being used. And I don't have those off the back of my head right now, but it has increased every year. So that's good to see.
That is good to see, and I'm glad there's some semblance of recovery in a way for the parents, but you know, it's always about the child, right?
It is about the child. And that's where CASA for Kids comes in, not the foundation. Yes, the foundation raises the money for the children in the courts, but a CASA is a court-appointed special advocate. Now they're the one person who is going to stick with this child from the beginning of the case till the end of the case, with no judgments, no, I want the child to go here, I want the child to go there. Sometimes a foster parent wants the child to stay. Obviously, the parent wants the child back. You've got lawyers involved pulling at that child. The CASA is the person who's going to be the voice of that child to let the judge know, this is what I'm seeing, this is what's going on, this is what can happen.
Be the advocate. Yeah.
Absolutely. They are the voice of that child.
I bet you that's a tough job.
I went through the training, and the training is tough. It's about a 30-hour training. They're always looking for volunteers. Once you've gone through the training, it's learning to write reports to the judge and to go to what's the CFT, which is a family treatment, where everybody comes together to talk about what needs to happen for it to progress within the court system.
You want your advocate to be emotionally attached, but then you don't want them to be emotionally attached. It's kind of a balance there, I'm sure.
And some of them become attached to where they are still friends with that child once the child has left the courts, which is really nice to know that, and again, this person is going to stay with that child. So let's say that a child is removed and then the parent gets them back. The CASA still stays in their lives until the case is closed. So if the child is removed again and goes into a different foster family, that CASA is still there. They're still the number one person that is always going to be there for that child.
And they're constantly monitoring them, or is it do they go to the foster home every so often?
I think they go about weekly, and that's where Quincy would be the best person to have on your show to talk about that part of the program and how that works. So that would be a fabulous, because I don't know and I don't have all the answers. I can tell you more about the foundation and raising money.
So let's talk about that. You receive a lot of so the organization, what does that do? And then you receive a lot of Arizona tax credits. Approximately how much of that and what kind of projects do you do with those funds?
Okay, so one of the things that we have just closed was Arizona Gives Day, which is the one day where all nonprofits in the state of Arizona come together to raise as much money as possible for their cause. Our cause is children in the care of the courts.
Okay.
So I went and asked for a grant from somebody who said, well, we'll do a matching grant of $6,000. And I'm thinking, I barely made $6,000 last year. Let's see if I can do it again this year. Okay, that's $12,000. But because Governor Ducey signed into law the extension till April, our tax credit, instead of ending in December, now ended in April.
April 18th of 2017,
which then included Arizona Gives Day. So we had lots of people calling saying, I need to get my taxes in, this is what I owe, can we give it to you? And I would say, can you post date that check till April 4th? And because of that, we raised $28,000. So with our $6,000 matching grant, we raised $34,909 in 24 hours.
Ah, that's almost $35,000.
Almost
that's great.
$35,000.
How much for the year?
For the year, I think we're right about $250,000 to $300,000.
That's excellent.
That is amazing.
How many kids does that help?
Numbers. In the state of...
Is it $1,000 a kid or something like that?
Well, and so I'll talk about our programs. We have about 400 children in foster care right now.
Okay.
Of those 400, some of them have CASAs. Now, our grant system is not you have to have a CASA in order to get something as a grant from us. Our program is every child that is in the care of the courts can get whatever is needed. Sometimes kinship would like to take the child and not have the child go to a foster care person. So they'll say, but I don't have a bed. Grandma and Grandpa want the child, but they don't have a bed. They don't have bedding. They don't have a dresser. They fill out a grant request, we get them the bed, the bedding, and the dresser.
Now they meaning the
kinship,
the grandparents.
The grandparents. They can fill out
in this scenario.
In that scenario.
Yeah.
The other scenarios can be a high school student needs a laptop. We just had prom, I think, last week.
Yep.
Somebody needed tickets to go to the prom. Somebody needed a prom dress. We provide for them so that they feel like, and I hate to use this word, normal children, but that's what we want them to feel. We don't want them to have all of these obstacles. I can't do this because my foster parent can't afford for me to do this.
Okay.
During the summer, we've got the YMCA camps. We're going to be giving to the Highland Center camps, the Heritage Zoo. So we'll be giving out lots of grants for kids to go and do those camps here.
Wow.
Within the community. We've had one young lady who wanted to be in 4-H, and she wanted to raise a pig. So we bought a pig.
All right.
So, the sky is the limit here, is what I tell. When I get calls and say, do you think you guys will fund this? I say apply. I'm not on the grant committee, but apply and let the grant committee decide how to use those funds.
Did that pig continue to be a pet?
No, it did not.
It
was
got turned
probably on
into,
your breakfast
food,
table
right?
this morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but she has come back and said that she wants to do it again. Now, what a great thing for a child to be able to go into 4-H.
Absolutely.
To be able to learn what it is to take care of something other than yourself. So those are
as long as they can take care of themselves.
Exactly. So just so many things that child has learned from being in 4-H. What a great thing that we are providing. We provide, a child comes into care with just the clothes on their backs. We have emergency clothing cards at the Department of Child Safety, DCS, so that if that child comes in, when they deliver that child to the foster parent, they give them a gift card to go get that child diapers, formula, if it's a younger child, clothes for school, backpack. What if the child didn't get to get their homework? What if they lost their notebook? All of those things have to be addressed when that child hits your door. So we want to make sure that that child has everything that they need to succeed. So that's one of the other parts of the grant program that we do. We also do what's called celebration cards. A child, when they come into care, they may wet the bed. So let's say that, or they stayed in their bed all night without having to get up or call somebody to come and read a story to them. Those are celebrations. So we want to recognize those celebrations. They've brought their grades up from being D's and F's to being A's, B's, or C's. We want them to be recognized. So we give DCS gift cards that they can give to the child for a job well done.
All right.
The other, some of the other things that we do is an adoption exchange mailbox. A lot of people are like, well, what's an adoption exchange mailbox? It would be if the parent had their rights severed and the child was put up for adoption and adopted. But the adoptive parent is okay with the biological parent being involved, but they don't want them to know where they live. They don't want them to have their phone numbers. The biological parent can send stuff to our mailbox, and the person gets it at the mailbox, rewraps it, and sends it on to the adoptive parent. And the adoptive parent, from that child's point of view, they can write their mom, they can write their dad, and it would go to the adoption mailbox and get sent back to the parent. So there's still communication going on between the adoptive and the biological.
So a lot of those funds that you receive in the tax credits and on your special days, they just go all back to the kids.
All back to the kids, and every dime stays in Yavapai County.
Wow.
Every dime stays in Yavapai County.
That's great.
So those
it is Yavapai CASA for kids.
It is Yavapai CASA for kids. So
Yeah.
yes, we do. That is one thing that we like to say is
Now,
that
we talked about the Arizona tax credit program briefly when you came over and received some of the tax credits that some of my clients were giving away, so they didn't have to
be
pay the state.
philanthropists.
Yeah, they were
Yes.
able to do the positive thing. And you said you thought that it might not stay around for very long, or what?
Well, we never know what's going to happen with this kind of a program. The state is giving everybody an opportunity, if you owe taxes, to be your own philanthropist. But is the state at some point going to say, wow, we lost a lot of money, that we need roads fixed, we need this done, we need that done. Will they take that away? That's a scary part, but we can't look at that right now. We just got to keep making sure that our kids have what they need to succeed in life.
These tax credits are very positive tax credits. I know you just learned about one of them.
I did.
But there's 5 Arizona tax credits for charity. One is, Yavapai CASA for Kids Foundation, and that's $1,000, married filing jointly, 500 other statuses. One is our Lions Club, which is called the Charitable Organization Tax Credit. Hers is a foster care tax credit. You can do all these tax credits, but ours is a charitable organization. It used to be called Working Poor Tax Credit, and that is $800 married filing jointly and $400 other statuses. There's also schools, the public schools, and that's $400 married filing jointly and 200 other statuses, and that goes to all kinds of programs and all kinds of schools in this area. You can do the PUSD, which is Prescott Unified School District tax credit, which you can do. There's 5 or 6 schools on that form that you can go to, and all kinds of different programs, music and FBLA and art and sports and all that kind of thing. And then there's the school tuition tax credit, which is for private schools, and that is that for 2016 was $2,173 married filing joint, $2,173, and half of that, $1,087 other statuses, and that was for schools like Sacred Heart or Primavera that would help. So if you owed $4,700 and you did $4,700 in tax credits, then you would owe nothing, and you might get your withholdings back. If you owed $2,000 and you paid in $4,700, then you would carry over the remainder of that. You would pay off the $2,000, and you would carry over the remainder of that up to 5 years. There's also another tax credit. The one that she didn't know about was the Arizona Military and Family Relief Fund. Now you got to get that one, and that's not extended. You got to get that in by probably October, because they have a cap of $1 million, and that is not good. But they have a cap of $1 million, and so you have to get it in by October or so, because I tried to do it in mid-November and it didn't work out. They had to send it back to me, and I didn't get credit for it this year because it was too late, because it has a cap. Now, I have to conclude now, I'm sorry, but
It's okay.
We are the Prescott Sunrise Lions, and I'd like to invite you to our club meeting, which is held at Waffles and More at 7 a.m. every Thursday. You will find that the club is friendly and fun, also engaged but also very engaged in Prescott and Prescott Valley communities. We joke and laugh, but understand our purpose in the community we serve, which is the whole Lions International motto. If you want to be part of such a group, then become a member of our club. I would like to thank the Prescott Media Center for doing this program for us. I do that every show that we have. Generally, we have some Leo Club members that are here, but they weren't available today. Some of them were sick. Some of them were doing graduation stuff. But I'd like to thank Jordan and Jim and Emma, as well as Linda and Mary from the Prescott Media Center. Go to prescottmediacenter.org to watch this. And then Carl Anderson from My Lions Club, and we're going to start bringing in more Lions Club members to help run the show. So thank you very much. Thank you, Crystal,
Dave.
for being here today, and we really appreciated you coming in and talking with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a great month.